Chase away the power of Satan, far away beyond the land and sea. Feel for God about His kingdom, giving joy and liberty to all. Come and people all around the world, let's unite into one. Spreading for the glory of the
Hello, good morning, our dear elders and brothers and sisters. Of course, good morning, our Heavenly Parent and true parents. And of course, a blessed morning to our dear Chandu families, blessed families, and brothers and sisters. We are delighted to welcome you to our Ahn Shi service. And today's sponsor is our region, Region 10, and I am Naomi Aloha, your MC for today. Now, before we begin, may I request everyone to close their eyes and slightly bow down your heads in preparation for listening to the words of meditation from our true Father. Initially, God, the creator and owner of the universe, made everything throughout heaven and earth and created the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, who were to become the ancestors of humanity. He waited for them to pass through a period of growth and gain maturity of heart. Once again, meditate on the words of our true Father. Initially, God, the creator and owner of the universe, made everything throughout heaven and earth and created the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, who were to become the ancestors of humanity. He waited for them to pass through a period of growth and gain maturity of heart. Aju. You may now open your eyes. Okay, and now let us all sing together with a sincere heart the Chinuguk anthem. All right, and for our Kyungbe and the recitation of the family pledge and its meaning, may I invite our Chun-A-1 chair, Dr. Robert Kittle, to lead us.
Thank you, Naomi. Please join with me as we offer our devotion and dedication to our heavenly parents and our true parents. Chenjin, Champuman, and Ke, Kyungbe, Paro. Thank you. The family pledge number 7. Our family, the owner of a Chanil Guk, pledges through living for the sake of others to perfect a world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. Meaning of family pledge number 7. If we inherit the original lineage centered on heavenly parent, the original culture of heart arises. Culture is linked through history. The culture of heart should be a network of the family, society, nation, and world. Be a person who lives for the sake of others. The ones who live for the sake of others, centering on true love, are welcomed day or night, wherever they go in the cosmos. The coming future world is the world of the new culture of heart, and the culture based on the true family, where the heavenly parent, human beings, and all things live in harmony. It is the world of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values, in which people live for the sake of others in true love and live together in harmony and cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Robert Kittle. And now I would like to invite our elder here in Region 10, Dr. Azucena Abuso, for the opening prayer.
Okay, good morning. Good morning to our most loving Heavenly Father in heaven and our true parents of heaven and earth and humankind. Thank you so much, loving Father, for this beautiful day that we could be together with all our brothers and sisters in our Ahn Shi Sunday service, loving Father. Thank you so much, loving Father, that you have allowed us to breathe in this early morning so that we can continue our responsibility in doing the providence of our true parents. Thank you, loving Father, that you have given us our life. You have extended our life until today and for all the rest of the years to come, loving Father, as we are working for our true parents' providence. Loving Father, would like to offer to you our whole heart again, in spite of our mistakes, loving Father, would like to renew our vows again, loving Father, that we are going to do our portion of responsibility. We would like to pray also, loving Father, for all our brothers and sisters who are still working hard, all our leaders who are working hard, loving Father, please guide them and protect them always from any harm, danger, and from any satanic invasion, loving Father. Loving Father, we pray for all our brothers that we could be able to unite for the sake of our true parents. Thank you for showing us the magic door to heaven, loving Father, through our true parents. Thank you so much that you have showed us the way through our true parents who have guided our life, loving Father, so that we could be able to live and inherit the kingdom of heaven, which Jesus has been longing for in his time. And our true parents have realized it in our time. Thank you so much, loving Father, that you allowed us to walk in this golden path through our true parents. We pray that you bless all of us as we are working together, loving Father, especially in realizing the heavenly unified Korea, loving Father, the hope of God and true parents and of all of us for realizing peace, loving Father. Thank you so much, loving Father. And we pray also for our messenger today, that you could use him as your instrument, loving Father, in opening hearts of our brothers and sisters, so that we could be able to work hand in hand, loving Father, and to receive God's word. Thank you so much. All this we offer and pray the most precious name, our beloved true parents, in our name, blessed central family, Rene and Sining Abuso, Aju, Aju, Aju.
Aju. Thank you very much, Professor Azucena Abuso, for your sincere prayer. And in this juncture, we shall be informed by the HJ Global News of the weekly news report. Please watch.
Hello dear members and welcome to another edition of HJ Global News. The Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula was successfully held with the participation of former and current heads of states and government from all 157 countries diplomatically linked to the two Koreas. Despite the crisis situation arising from the resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic, prominent leaders and peace-loving citizens from around the world took the opportunity to express their strong desire for the peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula. In this special edition of HJ Global News, we will look back at this historic 2022 World Summit in detail. The time has come to become one by combining our wisdom and skills to resolve the division and conflicts we have created. We dedicate our efforts to peace and to pave the way for a world of happiness for all. Citizens from all over the world have come together to make the Korean Peninsula one of the only remaining divided countries on the planet a true haven of peace. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic that brought the world to a standstill, the constant challenge to seek a path of peace held desired by all has continued unabated. In a world where politics is based on self-centered nationalism and nations only prioritize the interests of their citizens, leaders have shown solidarity to explore the path to a world of coexistence and harmony. It was for this that prominent world figures gathered for the Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula.
존경하는 지도자 여러분, 한 방울의 물들이 모여 대를 이루듯 이러한 평화와 통일의 여정들을 통해 그동안 인연된 수많은 정상급 지도자들을 모시고 오늘부터 2월 14일까지 한반도 평화 서밋을 개최하게 되었습니다.
At the opening ceremony, the co-chair of the organizing committee and the Prime Minister of Cambodia, His Excellency Hussein, delivered a speech to extend a warm welcome to the participants. At the headquarters of the Korean National Assembly, Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the US House of Representatives, sent a congratulatory message. In their speeches, world leaders such as Mike Pence, former Vice President of the United States, and Steve Harper, former Prime Minister of Canada, expressed their hope for a world of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal values. The opening ceremony was held simultaneously at the Lotte Hotel, the headquarters of the Korean National Assembly, and in Japan, where political authorities participated in efforts to chart a path to peace. The opening artistic performance of the summit was entitled Land of Blessing, Land of Division, and Land of Peace. It was held simultaneously at the HJ Global Arts Center and the Lotte Hotel and was attended by world leaders and distinguished guests. It was a moving performance that highlighted our efforts for peace in this new era. On the second day, the FISONAC Peace Prize Award ceremony was held, which recognizes works aimed at achieving a peaceful world. The new president of the SONAC Peace Prize Awarding Committee, Jose Manuel Barroso, gave the welcoming speech highlighting the theme of the 5th edition.
The SONAC Peace Prize was founded at the behest of Dr. Hak Han Moon, the wife of the late Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon, to honor and preserve their ideals, legacy, and achievements. In selecting this year's laureates, the SONAC Peace Prize Committee, which I have the honor to chair, focused on the response to the pandemic.
This edition highlighted actions in response to the global COVID-19 pandemic. Thus selected as co-recipient based on Law for Humanity were Professor Sarah Gilbert, a renowned scientist who developed a vaccine against the coronavirus, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, which has made tireless efforts to provide vaccines at lower cost in underdeveloped countries. The Founders Special Award went to Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen for his actions to promote peace in the Pacific region and his efforts towards a peaceful process of the Korean Peninsula. In addition, a special award was also given to him in recognition of his dedication for the success of the Peace Summit. Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, then extended his congratulations to the awardees. After that, Dr. Yoon Yong-ho presented a book entitled Prime Minister Hun Sen's Vision and Thoughts for Cambodia, published with the support of the Asian Cultural Commission, the Asian Vision Institute, and UPF, congratulating the Cambodian Prime Minister on the release of his autobiography. The positive influence of the SONAC Peace Prize for future generations continues to spread, and it's contributing to establishing a world of peace. On the 13th of February, former and current heads of state and government from the 157 countries diplomatically linked to the two Koreas and experts from the political, economic, media, and academic sectors attended the Peace Summit, which supported the peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula. The event started with an entrance under the honors of the distinguished leaders present in the hall. Ban Ki-moon, former president of the United Nations and co-chair of the summit organizing committee, delivered welcoming remarks sharing his wish to see a world of peace.
We work together with wisdom, sincerity, and resolve. I do believe we can illuminate the path to peace both on the Korean Peninsula and beyond.
In their congratulatory messages, Korean and foreign leaders wished the summit every success and shared their hope and ardent desire to work together for the reunification of the Korean Peninsula.
Please join me in working, striving, and praying for a Korea that is safe, prosperous, flourishing, united, and finally at peace. They are great people. They are brilliant people. They are loving people. We want to help.
The letter sent by former Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, and other speeches alluded to the principles of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal values. In his address, Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen prayed for the peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula, revealing the wisdom Cambodia has gained after suffering the throes of war for the past 30 years. In her special message, Dr. Hak Cha-han-moon, co-founder of UPF, revealed the vision of a heavily unified Korea and called on everyone to work together for the reunification of the Korean Peninsula.
이 민족이 세계 모든 나라들이 하늘을 부모로 모시는 자리에서만이 진정한 세계 평화, 자유, 평등, 평화, 통일의 행복한 하늘 부모님을 중심한 인류 한 가족의 세계가 이루어질 수 있습니다. 그런 점에서 나는 참 부모로서 남과 북의 백성들에게 원합니다. 나와 하나 되는 남과 북이 형제가 되는 자리에서 진정한 한반도 통일, 세계 모든 인류가 하늘 부모님의 아들, 딸로서의 세계 평화, 통일이 우리 시대에, 당대에 이루어질 수 있습니다.
A miracle occurred at this summit, during which citizens of the world and 157 countries diplomatically linked to the two Koreas united in an effort to achieve peace and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula, as well as to build a heavily unified Korea. Dr. Hak Cha-han-moon and the co-chairs of the organizing committee also presented the Seoul Declaration adopted at the 2022 World Summit, marking the beginning of the project for a heavily unified Korea and the second phase of the North Korean project. In addition, while the Peace Summit was being held at the HJ Global Arts Center, the Rally of Hope for the Salvation of the Homeland was being held at the same time in 52 venues in major cities across the country. A total of 10,000 people gathered at the venue for this event, and nearly 1 million followed it online. In addition, the event, which depicted the vision of peace for all, saw the active participation of Korean and foreign leaders, as well as more than 2 million citizens worldwide through the internet. A total of 3,517 public and private television stations around the world covered the event, including Peace Link and MBCNet, which streamed the entire program live. On February 15, at the HJ Garden Hall, the victory celebration of True Parents Anniversary, the 9th Foundation Day of Cheongguk, and the Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula was held in the presence of key leaders. After appearing on stage glowing and in top form, True Mother received flowers and gifts from the True family members and continental leaders, who extended their congratulations to her on the success of the Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula. In particular, Prime Minister Hun Sen sent a bouquet of flowers for the victory celebration, while the Cambodian embassy sent in a gift. This was followed by the cutting of the cake celebrating the victory and was held in an atmosphere of joy. After that, Reverend Kim Ki-hoon offered the representative prayer in which he thanked Heavenly Parent for His grace and the success of the Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula. During the Hoondeok session, Mrs. John Won-ju McDavid read True Mother's address from the Peace Summit.
우리 다 함께 하늘 부모님을 모시고 참 부모를 통해서 참 자녀가 되는 자리에서 하늘 부모님의 꿈, 소원을 지상에 이루어드리는 효자, 효녀들이 됩시다.
Afterwards, Dr. Yoon Yo-ho reported on the success of the summit for peace on the Korean Peninsula, which was truly a miracle.
이런 한반도 평화 서밋은 지난 2년 동안 코로나가 있고 세계가 분단되고 갈등이 있고 분열이 되어 있을 때 저희들은 어머님을 모시고 하나가 됐고 중단 없는 전진을 해온 이 모든 2년의 노정의 결실이자 신통일한국 안착 기반 조성을 위한 출발이요 출정이라고 믿습니다. 여러분, 어머님 말씀대로 한반도 평화 통일은 이루어집니다. 왜냐하면 한반도 평화 통일이 이루어질 때까지 우리들은 전진할 것이기 때문입니다. 왜냐하면 한반도 평화 통일이 이루어질 때까지 우리들은 어머님 닮아 사생결단 전력 투구할 것이기 때문입니다. 아픈 가슴을 부여안고 부은 다리를 두드리시며 밤잠 못 주무시면서 세상을 품고자 뛰고 또 두셨던 어머님께서 157개국을 다 어머님의 품으로 품으실 때까지 우리들은 뜁니다. 그리고 만들어내겠습니다. 우리가 하나 된다면 승리하고 우리가 하나 된다면 기적이 일어난다 믿습니다. 이제는 하늘 부모님의 조국 광복을 위해 자신의 가슴에 간직하고 있던 각자의 태극기 아니 각자의 천을 웃기를 우리는 꺼내야 되겠습니다. 조어머의 할머니가 태극기를 꺼내들고 소리 높여 대한민국 만세를 외쳤듯이 만방의 하늘 부모님의 조국 천일국 만세를 힘차게 외쳐야 하겠습니다.
참 부모님께서는 수고한 지도자들을 격려하시며 은혜로운 말씀을 주셨습니다.
그동안에 세계에서 이 한날을 위하여 준비하고 수고한 결실이 승리로 이루어졌음을 감사히 생각합니다. 특히 이민년은 1962년에 정말로 진실이 드러나게 되었더라면은 기독교의 반대는 없었을 것입니다. 그러나 그리 되지 못하여 60년 만에 맞게 되는 이민년은 기필코 그동안 참고 기다려 나오신 하늘 부모님의 존재, 하늘 부모님을 당당히 외치고 알리는 참가정, 천보 가정들이 세계 도처에서 아름다운 꽃을 피움으로 말미암아 하늘 부모님의 자녀가 되는 길, 그 길은 참 부모를 받아들여서 하늘 부모님의 품에 형제로서 함께하는 길밖에 없습니다. 그러나 마지막에 하늘 부모님을 모신 인류 한 가족의 그 길에 있어서 이제 유럽 대륙이 직면하고 있는 동유럽 문제, 동북아 문제를 놓고 볼 때 완연히 참 부모와 하나 된 자리, 하늘 부모님의 참 자녀로서의 먼저 된 자가 되어 이 하늘을 모르는 두 나라를 품을 수 있는 형님의 자리에서 동생을 교육하여 품을 수 있는 그러한 환경권을 만들 수 있는 기회가 바로 지금인 것을 알아야 합니다.
The victory celebration show started with Chaneguk leaders and then continued with singers Kang Jin and Insuni. In addition, the youth of IAYSP, who offered sincere devotions and conditions for the success of the summit and tirelessly invested themselves in their various mission places, testified their hearts of filial piety to true parents through a magnificent artistic performance. All the blessed families then chorused the song Komapsu to convey their hearts of gratitude to God and True Father and reaffirm their determination to move forward in unity with true parents until the realization of a heavenly unified Korea. This victory celebration concluded with 3 shouts of Okmanse led by leaders of the 3 core nations of the Providence, which expressed the determination of all to invest body and soul onto the peaceful unification of the Korean Peninsula. The Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula brought together prominent leaders from around the world to establish a foundation for the peaceful unification of the Korean Peninsula and provide effective solutions to the serious crisis facing the world. The Seoul Declaration adopted by these leaders will serve as a starting point for the peaceful unification of the Korean Peninsula. With the support of 157 countries and a single vision, efforts will continue unabated until the great miracle occurs. The Summit for Peace on the Korean Peninsula, which gathered the support of 157 countries diplomatically linked to the 2 Koreas, was a real space for promoting national unity and international cooperation. It provided a real ray of hope in a world today marked with division and conflict. Based on true parents' principles of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal values, we must write a new history by continuing our efforts until the peaceful unification of the Korean Peninsula and the realization of a kingdom of heaven on earth, where all humanity is one family united under God, our Heavenly Parent. With these words, we conclude this special edition of HA Global News. Thank you for following us and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, HA Global News, for always updating our blessed families and brothers and sisters about the victory and, of course, the efforts of our leaders and brothers and sisters. It was truly inspiring. Once again, let's give a big hand to our Heavenly Parent, true parents, and our leaders for their hard work. Okay, and at this point, I will be welcoming an on-demand performer of Chun Il-guk. And I believe this will not be her first time offering a song to our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Heavenly Parent and true parents are very proud of you, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. Miss Celine Deatera. Please welcome her with a thunderous applause for her offering song.
lose your way with each passing day. You've come so far, don't throw it away. Live believing, dreams are for weaving, wonders are waiting to start. Live your story, faith, hope, and glory. Hold to the truth in your heart. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. Dreams see us through to forever. Where clouds roll by. For you and I. Souls in the wind must learn how to mend. Seek out a star, hold on to the end. Valley, mountain, there is a fountain, washes our tears all away. Words are swaying, someone is praying. Please let us come home to stay. If we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. Dreams see us through to forever. Where clouds roll by. For you and I. When we arrive there in the dark, we'll dream about the sun. In the dark, we'll feel the light warm our hearts. Everyone, if we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. Dreams see us through to forever. As high as souls can fly, the clouds roll by. For you and I.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely wow. In Cebuano terms, makahilak man pud tag dildo. Meaning, yeah, the song is so moving. It would actually bring shards of glasses of and what do you call this, a literary device that we use to say that someone is crying very deeply. Makahilak man po tagbildo sa imong kanta, Ate Celine. Anyway, you never cease to amaze and move us with your angelic voice. Ate Celine, thank you very much. And now, it is time. It is absolutely nerve-wracking to be emceeing again after quite a while, and the speaker had to be one of the leaders that I look up to and regard as my role model. However, I am really grateful to be granted this opportunity to receive guidance from our Heavenly Parent through him. Everyone, let us welcome our speaker, our Chuniwon Chair, Dr. Robert Kittle.
Thank you. Naomi, you're one of my favorite MCs also. Thank you for being with us today. Greetings really to our Heavenly Parent who must be jumping with joy. Really to our true parents, brothers and sisters, Chunbo families, especially second generation who are attending. Professor Abuzo, thank you for your moving prayer, and Celine for your dreams will see us through to forever. We can go forever in our dreams. So my job is very easy today because I want to talk about the World Summit, and we had a wonderful overview of the World Summit already through the Peace TV program, but still I will go through it and let us be reminded of really the great victory that we had this time. President Masaichi Hori told us that in the previous World Summits, we tried to be a World Summit, but this time we were definitely, without a doubt, and everybody felt it, saw it, knew it, experienced it. We were a World Summit. We are having an impact on the world. There is no doubt about that at this time. So let me share with you the slides that I have. And these slides, let's see, let's do that. And then let's do this. These slides that I will share with you, I was able to share with Dr. Lorenzo Clavejo yesterday. Ronnie Sedusta had organized a meeting with him, and we spent about 2 hours together. And at several points during our sharing of these slides that I'm going to share with you, he took out his camera and wanted to take photographs because he will be reporting to the government leaders that he works with about this. So let me begin. This is Ahn Shi, and today is the 24th day of the first month of the 10th year. It is February 24th, 2022. I have this photograph from last year because the daffodils haven't bloomed yet, but Mother talks about the daffodils in her speech, and so I chose this photograph as the background for this title slide. I want to, again, go through quickly and extensively Mother's speech. I'll go through quickly the photographs because you've seen most of them. I'll give anecdotes here or there on what was happening at the World Summit. The biggest struggle that we had was getting visas and quarantine exemption from the government of Korea. They're having a spike in coronaviruses in Korea. I think it's 50 or 60,000 a day. And I kind of realized one reason why this is happening is because they are testing all the time. When I was in Korea, I was tested for coronavirus 14 times. The day I arrived, the day I got out of quarantine, every 2 days we had to be tested. So if somebody catches coronavirus, even without symptoms, immediately they're discovered. So I don't know that any other nation is testing so rigorously and continually. Even if you want to get tested, you have to line up and stand in line, sometimes 2 or 3 hours in sub-zero weather. It's that serious in Korea. So the Korean government is very serious, and it was difficult to get waivers because they want to protect their people. We understood that, but still we fought with them as we could. And finally, only 2 heads of state, one current, one former, were able to attend. Many more were willing to come. Many more wanted to come, but it just wasn't possible. So this summit was unique in that it was co-sponsored, co-hosted by a government and an NGO. And this is what really we need to work in this area, work toward this, because each has something that they can offer. And when we work together, then we amplify and multiply the uniqueness of each one. So we work with the royal government of Cambodia, connected with the Universal Peace Federation. At the opening, we have a reception line. This was the reception line. Dr. Yun Yun Ho on the far right, and then the ambassador from Cambodia to Korea, Her Excellency Rangse, and then Yenanim, who is there representing Universal Peace Federation of Korea, and then Dr. Walsh, the international side. As always, we began with an opening prayer. The different religions were welcomed on stage, and two people gave prayers and reflections. One of them was Paula White. She is really the former, spiritual advisor to Donald Trump. And I met with her later during the program. I wanted to meet with her. I had lunch with her specifically because I brought the books that were published here in the Philippines about our regional youth forum, the VOC work that we were doing. And Paula White is from Florida, and the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, had signed a bill last year saying that all of the high school students in the state of Florida should study, quote, the evil of communism. So I asked Paula White, I said, do you have any contacts in the Department of Education of the state of Florida? And her eyes lit up and said, yes. So she was very happy to hear what we were doing and to try and help make that connection. So behind the summit, there are lots of different meetings going on. The second prayer that was offered was from Samdech Dr. Ki Sonovaranathan. He's from Cambodia. He was selected by the Prime Minister to give the opening prayer at that time. The speakers, this is Vice President Mike Pence being received, welcomed in by Dr. Walsh and received by the Little Angels. This is Prime Minister Hun Sen. Again, the same reception that he got. It was really special. They do something in Korea, they do it full out, and it really touches people's hearts. Not only the people that are received, but also the whole audience feels the excitement, and it creates a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. As was mentioned, Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives in the United Nations, and it's still a very powerful, strong voice in America, gave one of the opening statements. He did so from the National Assembly building in Korea. He was there. We were in the Lotte Hotel, and the other venue was up at Cheongpyeong area. They call it now the HJ Global Arts Center, our auditorium up there. Hun Sen gave his speech, was very moving. And then, of course, all the flags of the different nations were there. Then for the opening, the first session afterwards, Mike Pence, the former Vice President of the United States, Stephen Harper, the former Prime Minister of Canada, and Jim Rogers, the chairman of Bilan Enterprises, were there. They gave their speeches. The second session, two leading VIPs from Japan, Honorable Harada, Minister of Environment, and His Excellency Date, the former President of the House of Councilors, and also the former Prime Minister of Israel, His Excellency Olmert was there. So throughout the program, we constantly had these high-level VIPs. Macky Sall, again, was willing to come. He's from Senegal. He is also the chairman of the Africa Union this year, wanted to come. His Excellency Prodi, the former Prime Minister of Italy and the European Union Commission President, was there, and also from Brazil, His Excellency Timur were there. These were constantly, these high-level people were there, and they were very much impressed. I think what happened in this summit, to me, I was there well in advance, and I was part of the staff during the whole summit time, so I could see what was happening behind the scenes. And because of the coronavirus and the uncertainty of visas and who's coming, who's not coming, the schedule for the conference kept changing even until the day before it began. And there were major changes in the conference schedule taking place. But this was a good thing because the speakers who were planning to speak realized that the most important part of the program, yes, they're speaking, and yes, it's important, but it's not the most important. The real important part of this program is really that True Mother meet with these different heads of state. It changes their relationship. It changes their life. I've seen that many, many times. Just meeting, being with True Mother has a powerful, transformative effect. People leave this conference different than when they came. And if they come again, these changes in their heart, in their thinking, in their understanding of the world situation, these are fundamental changes that are taking place in major leaders throughout the world. So this was our hall inside the Lotte Hotel. It was connected, as I mentioned, to the Cheongpyeong Arts Center up in Cheongpyeong. These were people that attended from the media side. I'll go back to this slide. You've got the Vice Minister of Culture, Sports, and Tourism from Korea, an editor from the Washington Times, Trish Regan from Fox Business News, Ganesh Prasad Kiminasina from the National Assembly of Nepal, Kira Phillips, ABC News from Japan, Mrs. Honorable Ono, and Mike Breen, who's a resident longtime journalist. These are the people that are, contributing, working for us, endorsing, and even signing the resolution afterwards, helping us. These are from the European side. I don't know all of them, and we can see Switzerland and France and Spain, Montenegro, Kosovo, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Turkey. So again, we can see extensively our UPF Foundation was able to make major impact in these areas. From the religious freedom, this was led by Mike Jenkins. These are speakers mainly from the Americas, North and South America, that were there. And I want to point out particularly one speaker, and her name is Celestine Gingrich. She is the wife of Newt Gingrich, and she is the ambassador representing the United States of America to the Vatican in Italy. She was a very powerful speaker. To me, she stood out among them because she came strongly on the importance of religious freedom, and that it's one of the most fundamental freedoms that we have. Without religious freedom, God's providence doesn't move forward. She didn't say that in those words, but she was very, very strong. And we were happy to have her here. This is the first time I think she came and spoke with us. She came with her husband, who was also there to speak. From the Asia Pacific region, I will show you the different speakers that we had, thanks to Honorable Eknath and his effort to reach out to them. We had from Sri Lanka, President Sirisena came and was there for the whole entire conference. Speaking to us from the video was Arroyo, and then from India, Devgoda, the former president, and then Lenny Robredo from the vice president and currently a candidate for president, Mahinda Rajapaksa, the prime minister of Sri Lanka, and then Mrs. Rajapaksa also spoke, representing the first ladies. And from Tonga, where they had the earthquake in the Asia Pacific, we had the Speaker of the House. He was the last speaker on the morning of his speech. He was put on the program because he gave us his speech the night before. This is how hectic it was. We were making changes hours before the events were to take place, but it worked out well, and that's the important thing. From Pakistan, representatives, and the First Lady from Fiji. So we had very strong representatives from the Asia Pacific region. This is from Africa. They had ultimately 9 heads of state wanted to come from Africa. They weren't able to. 14 current heads of state wanted to come. They weren't able to. They couldn't get visas or couldn't get quarantines. And so this was Taj leading that session. Interestingly, we are here in the Philippines, and Mother called Taj when we had our meeting with True Mother at the Chenjeonggung on the 15th after the victory celebration, and said, really we need to reach out. We need to get to the Pope. We need to ask, to get his endorsement and support for his sake, as well as for the sake of, global providence. The Sunhawk Peace Prize, you saw that. It was a glorious event. Jose Manuel Barroso is the chairman now of the Sunhawk Committee. Sarah Gilbert won for an individual developing the AstraZeneca vaccine, and Gavi, the alliance that distributes the vaccine free of charge, and a congratulatory message by the Prime Minister of Israel. And then after that, a special Sunhawk Peace Founders Award was given to Hun Sen. And this is very special because this is a true mother's selection. And so she really wanted him to receive that. And then the day of the summit, we went up to is now called HJ Global Arts Center. And we again opened up with the religious leaders praying and offering, the holy water ceremony, the little angels. This is President Sirisena who came. Ban Ki-moon was speaking. And again, we were connected around the world. We can see True Mother seating on her right is Ban Ki-moon, and on her left is Hun Sen. And on the further left of Hun Sen is Vice President Mike Pence, and on the right of Ban Ki-moon is His Excellency Barroso. So these were the level people. Donald Trump came, gave a very powerful, clear message, the second time he has spoken. And then Prime Minister Abe, when we showed this yesterday to Dr. Clavejo, he said that there's a very strong personal relationship between Prime Minister Abe and President Duterte here in the Philippines. That, of course, many heads of state have come to the Philippines, but only President Abe went to Davao, to the hometown of President Duterte, and had breakfast with him in his own home. And so this level of relationship is really a wonderful, wonderful thing to see and to build on. They had on display at the Arts Center, the Global Arts Center, the heads of state from all over the world. I tried to get a panorama of that, and then you could see they were all there really giving their support either live or through video. These were the speakers that spoke at that time. In the center there is Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State. His leg had been, I'm not sure, broken or fractured. He had surgery on his foot and couldn't walk, but still came. He was on like a push cycle coming on stage, showing really this level of sacrifice and dedication. Prime Minister Hun Sen, True Mother, and then signing the resolution, and then concluding this summit together. You can see this wonderful event and venue. The next one is going to be this coming Saturday, by the way, heads up for everyone, especially the IMAP representatives. Mark Esper, he came and spoke at the summit, and then following the summit, they had a special think tank forum with leading experts of panelists from Japan, Korea, and America. So that's the beginning. I want to go through Mother's speech because it's powerful in what it talks about. I believe that despite the challenging situation caused by the corona pandemic, the hopes and devoted effort of world leaders who desire peace and unity on the Korean Peninsula will surely bear fruit. This is Mother's opening line. This is what she wants to accomplish. This is the purpose of this program. So what Mother has done is invite the heads of state from around the world, and they wanted to come. And these heads of state are elderly men and women. That means they're the most vulnerable in terms of the coronavirus. We know that the elderly are very vulnerable. And so what Mother is doing, she's asking these heads of state, will you risk your life to help bring unity to the Korean Peninsula? That's the condition that I believe is being set by True Mother. And it's in her opening line right here. The hopes and devoted effort of world leaders who desire peace and unity on the Korean Peninsula will surely bear fruit. Today, The world as a whole faces many challenges. There are more than 200 nations on this planet, and yet they all strive for a peaceful, unified world. Despite this hope, human history has become increasingly marred with conflict and war. That's reality. Then this was the meditation that we had. I chose it from here. It's from Mother's words. Initially, God, the creator and owner of the universe, made everything throughout heaven and earth and created the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, who were to become the ancestors of humanity. So that's their mission. How would they do that? He waited for them to pass through a period of growth and gain maturity of heart. So, in other words, in order for them to accomplish, their time is necessary, but also responsibility is necessary. They must gain this maturity of heart. And in order to do that, they must think of something beyond themselves, not just their individual pleasure or happiness, but now they should start to think of forming a family. If a family had been formed in the Garden of Eden, the fall would not have taken place. So the original ideal of creation is very clear. God wanted a family, but it also, that is the key to preventing the fall. And that is the key to solving so many problems in the world today, social problems, sexual diseases and drugs and delinquent kids and crime and gangs and violence. All of it really stems from this dysfunctional family that should have really been able to solve these problems. Yet they were unable to achieve this, and at this time humanity is cut off from any relationship with God the Creator. This is the biggest problem of the fall. However, the omniscient, omnipotent Creator is both the Alpha and the Omega. So in the beginning, the Alpha was what? A marriage and family. That was clear in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And in Genesis 21 and 22, it's again the marriage supper of the Lamb. So the Alpha and the Omega of the Bible, the Genesis and the Revelations, is the family, That's the Alpha and the Omega. God must bring about the day of victory without fail. To achieve this, the true parents, who can become the victorious ancestors of humanity, have to emerge from among all humankind. Mother's speaking about this in front of this worldwide audience. She is bold. Only then can God's dream of one family of humankind living in the kingdom of heaven on earth be realized. This is the only way. It's not through political maneuvering. It's not through economic prosperity. Those are necessary, but they're supplementary. The key point is, how do we restore God's lineage centered on the original ideal of having a true parent? And Mother's explaining that very clearly. Throughout the 6,000 years, God has been the parent searching for his lost children. This is why God permitted the emergence of religions that could appropriately lead the people of each region, and has been educating humanity to seek the path towards goodness. So Mother is saying every religion is and it's true, all religions have a ceremony honoring marriage. All religions do that. All religions warn about misusing love and sex outside of marriage, because that can destroy the family. This is universal among religions. Amid such circumstances, God selected one nation as the chosen people. So God is working among all the nations, and he's also selecting one people. He's doing both at the same time, and had to carry out the providence of salvation throughout history to indemnify and make restitution for the mistakes of our forebearers who were meant to become the first human ancestors. So God is preparing a global environment, and he is preparing a specific nation as well. Both of these are providences that are carried out during this now 6,000 years of providential history. That has been a history of indescribable and laborious patience and perseverance. After toiling for 4,000 years, God was finally able to bring about the birth of his only begotten Son, whom he could claim as his own. However, according to the principle of creation, the only begotten Son alone is not sufficient. That is why not only the family into which the only begotten Son was born, but also the people of Israel had to create the environment wherein he could sustain God's providence. So what does that mean? It means Jesus should have been married. That's clearly what it means. To sustain God's providence means Jesus should get married and God's providence should be planted and expanded into the world. Mother is very clear. This was not realized, however. Jesus died on the cross, yet promised to come again. He said he would return and hold the feast of the Lamb, the marriage supper of the Lamb. Through the apostles, the Christian faith was passed down over the ensuing 2,000 years. Yet, I would like to ask whether the Christian environment of today is ready to receive the Messiah that promised to return. Wow. It is the birth of true parents that forms the environment within such heaven, within which heaven can embrace fallen humanity. Fallen people can stand as the children of God the Creator, our heavenly parent, only when they are reborn and resurrected through true parents. That's the only way, because they connect to God's lineage through that. God is a God of principles and cannot violate his principles to stop man from falling, and he cannot violate his principles in restoration. No favoritism. There's no shortcut. There's no, well, I'm, a very high level person. So the work that we are doing in the Chunbo families is really important because we're building the foundation. And when the VIPs see what we have, this foundation, they are very impressed. Wow. I mentioned, I think a few days ago, that if I was the president or prime minister of a country, I would hold a competition and I would say, which religion advocates, promotes, and strengthens the marriage of the family the most, because that's the key. If marriages are strong, then surely the nation will survive and be strong. And if that, whatever religion that was, they should be given really special support by the state because they're doing what the state needs to do also. Anyway, that's just my thinking. And these central figures who can unravel the tangled threads of a history gone wrong were born on the Korean Peninsula after 6,000 years. True Parents' advent occurred in 1960, and the providence by which True Parents gave rebirth and resurrection to humanity as Heavenly Parents' children is the true family movement of the marriage blessing ceremony. All fallen people, regardless of who they may be, will become the children of Heavenly Parent through True Parents. It doesn't matter your position, your position in society, what you've accomplished. All fallen people, regardless of who they are, will become children of Heavenly Parents through True Parents. This must come to pass. The dream of God, our Creator, is to live together with True Parents and his children in the kingdom of heaven on earth. The first step toward this was taken in 1960. Again, the advent of True Parents' holy wedding. To say it simply, the owner of the universe and this planet Earth is God, the Creator, our Heavenly Parent. There are many nations and powers in the world, but only those that attend Heavenly Parent can qualify as nations. They do not have ownership. A nation can only be established through heaven's acknowledgement. You have done your best to create a heavenly world. Please govern this country. In other words, the world's religions have all reached their last stop. They must get off at the last stop. All that remains is for them to step down onto the path and become one with True Parents so that they may attend our Heavenly Parent, the owner of the universe. The same is true for the Korean people. Why were the Koreans divided into North and South despite sharing the same culture, history, and tradition? Korea is the last divided nation on earth. Only when this country is unified will peace prevail in Eastern Europe and Northeast Asia. Do you understand? You should know that through true parents, all those living in the world today can attend Heavenly Parent as his children and are connected to God in a parent-child relationship. Let me stop there just a moment. I'm reading this book. I don't know if you can see it. This is the book that was published. We published it in Korea and it was released at the end of the Sunhak ceremony. Hun Sen's thought and vision for Cambodia. I want to understand what is in his heart and why he could connect with true parents so deeply and really with such a deep understanding. And I realized as I read this book, I mean, Hun Sen fought to liberate his country. He was wounded 6 times. He doesn't have sight in one eye. And yet, when you read the book, you realize that he desires peace. That's very strong. And he's willing to sacrifice. And that's the same heart that true parents have, willing to sacrifice for the sake of peace. And the other thing in Hun Sen is his filial piety. When he wanted to restore the country, central to his desire to restore Cambodia from the Pol Pot genocide, he wanted to put the king back in power, the filial heart of a child. And this is what True Mother is also emphasizing. HJ, Hyojung, Hyojung, everywhere. It's the heart of filial piety. That's the vertical line that is the central line of our life of faith. So I realize there surely are others, but I could easily see these 2 commonalities between Hun Sen's heart and that of our True Mother. Where was I? As I have explained, a world of true peace, freedom, equality, unity, and happiness, wherein humankind lives as one family centered on God, is only possible if the Korean people and other nations attend God as their parent. In this regard, as the true parent, I wish to express my hope for the citizens of North and South Korea. Please become brothers and sisters of the North and South who are one with me. At that point, we will see the true unification of the Korean Peninsula. In other words, not by politics, not by economics. Those are necessary, but they're not the primary motivation. World peace and unity of all humankind as heavenly parents, sons and daughters, can moreover be achieved at this age and this generation. So if we think about it, you need one person who can bridge North and South Korea. One person who has won the heart of the North Korean leadership and also established a strong foundation in South Korea. Really, that one person is very clear. It's our true parents. With their going to Korea 30 years ago, and now with this new initiative, for the last 2-3 years, everything we have done has been focusing on North and South. And we heard in the Peace TV video that there were 52 different sites throughout Korea watching the summit this time. Over time, humankind, in ignorance of the relationship between heaven, each person and all nations have devastated this beautiful earth. Step by step, it is becoming more serious. Climate change, rising sea levels, and especially natural disasters. Just during last year, there were horrific wildfires, tornadoes, and heavy rains in North America. So many lost their property or their lives. Ban Ki-moon said it very well at the summit on the last day. He said, there's no plan B because there's no planet B. We don't have an option. We must work to save this planet. Again, that change of heart, that willingness to sacrifice for the sake of others, for future generations, really is what our true parents are teaching. What about China and Asia? In every continent, we have seen indescribable damage to the property and loss of life. Moreover, many have died during the past 2 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. The reality is that we have no idea what other mutations may arise in the future and present even greater challenges. All of this has resulted from humankind having no faith in God. This is true. This is true. The problem is not where the pandemic originated. The problem is that the country where it originated hid the origin of this virus and didn't share with the world data that they knew, and even sent their own citizens around the world and quarantined their own people. So the lack of transparency, the lack of openness, the lack of religious freedom, which would have been fundamental, Mother is correct. Mother is correct. All of this is a result from humankind having no faith in God. And it's not just a belief in God, it's that, but it's also understanding the principles that God works with and living by those principles ourselves. As children who have been unfilial, but who are now standing in the position of sons and daughters attending Heavenly Parent, you have to make our parents' dream come true on earth. And that was the music that we had from Celine. As such, you must just sit back and watch. Can you sit back and watch? All people of the world must unite one by one and fulfill this responsibility, which is to return this world to its original state. This is what all of you living in this world together with me today are asked to accomplish. Today, people have come here from all parts of the world and given many excellent speeches. Everyone is praying for our hopes to be realized with the firm belief that they will be. We can bring them to fruition. The issue, however, is the task of qualifying as the children who attend God as our parent. I am passing on the dream to future generations, our grandchildren, who will take responsibility for this earth and all humankind in the future. If we unite and make our planet into the earthly heavenly kingdom, what will our earthly lives in a close relationship with our heavenly parent be like? After making all things, our Creator then created our first ancestors and told them to take dominion over everything. The unfallen natural world continues to sustain all living things according to the cyclical law of the principle of creation. But the problem is that our world is being gradually damaged by humankind. I like daffodils, which are the first flowers to bloom in the frozen soil when spring comes. Through the daffodils, I am observing how to comfort the heart of our heavenly parent, who is a witness to human history full of suffering and pain due to the fall. Though they don't have yet the power, the daffodils will be the first to break through the frozen soil and tell the world that spring has come. Looking at them, I am reminded of the many restrictions we have faced in our environment during the past 60 years while carrying out our responsibility as the true parents. And yet, I did not stop. As a result, there are many allies like you on my side today. Thank you. Let us all endeavor through true parents to become the true children of our heavenly parent, and together as filial sons and daughters, make God's dream and wish come true on earth. Thank you. So this was True Mother's speech. Again, she ended it with daffodils, and I talked with the architect of this garden. He's a Thai brother who studied horticulture in Thailand and came and then has now been working for, I think, 8 or 9 years. And he planted this really based on what really True Mother loves, the daffodils breaking through. A beautiful, beautiful scene in Cheongpyeong. This is a scene of the construction. The Cheongjong-gung is below and the Cheongjong-won is above. You see that is going on. It will be opened next year. A grand celebration is planned for that. And then also during the same time, Dr. Venus and I met with Peter Kim and Phyllis Kim, and Dr. Kim gave a very generous, substantial donation for the IPLC College. Dr. Kim is the Chunbowan of Philippines. He's adopted it of the Philippines, so we had a wonderful meeting together. You can see here the three main leaders of our region, President Hori, and then Honorable Eknath and Damien Dunkley. This was at the victory celebration with our True Mother. And then the next morning, on the 16th, we took a photograph together with Dr. Yun Ho at the end of the victory celebration. Again, thank you very much. Please join with me, and I will offer a closing prayer. Our heavenly parents and our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, we are living at an accelerated providence of restoration here on earth. Surely our true Father in the spirit world is helping and directing the ancestors of the leaders who are attending our program. They also are really pushing and guiding their children and grandchildren to help in this effort. We've been able to reach really the highest level of people, especially at this summit, from all over the world, from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, North and South America, Japan and Korea. Really, Father, a providential whirlwind, a tsunami is taking place, and it will continue to unfold. We look forward, especially next year, as Mother celebrates the Chunwangun opening, and that will be really the palace to allow heaven to work directly and even more fully here on earth. We are so grateful for our true Mother, for her leadership, grateful for the leadership of the international headquarters as they continue to guide, direct, even push us, Father, beyond our own capacity sometimes to fulfill providential mandates. So thankful for the leadership on the regional and national levels, leadership, Father, the Chunbo levels, leadership, Father, really in the individual family levels, the people that are making every effort to really have their children attend to true parents and realize that this is a life and death situation, Father, that we are in. Thank you for this time together, for the victory that we celebrate again here on this day, this Ahn Shi Day, and this opportunity to really make a new determination ourselves, to look within us and say, what more can we do? What more can we give? What are the next steps for this heavenly province to unfold? And surely here in the Philippines, we must be thinking of how we can support Taj Hamad in reaching out to have the Vatican, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, be able to connect with us more substantially. Already he has met with Dr. Walsh and Taj, but we want really to connect more for the sake of the Catholic Church, Father, for the sake of the direction that it needs to be given, Father. And also here in the Asia Pacific realm, we're working with the Pacific Christian Leadership Conference, really for the sake of Christians all over this region, especially really the Protestant religions in the Pacific area, in the island nation area of the Pacific, and also the Catholic nation of the Philippines. Really, we need to work together to be able to bring really Christianity back to attend you as the heavenly parent, to understand the principles that are operating in human history so that they can live by those principles. In ignorance, it's not possible. So we need education, lots and lots of education, to be able to share and teach really the fundamental teachings of our true parents with, religions and nations in this world today. Thank you again for this victory celebration that we have had here during this Ahn Shi, this time of the Asia Pacific, really regional Ahn Shi session here in the Philippines. I offer this prayer, grateful that we can be here, thankful that we have this time together. In the name of the Kittle Blessed Center family, Achu.
Aju. Thank you very much, Dr. Kittle, for sharing us the behind the scenes, the proceedings, and the significance of the World Summit, and of course, True Mother's speech during the event. Let us express our gratitude to Heavenly Parent and True Parents, as well as to Dr. Kittle, by giving him a virtual applause. Thank you, Dr. Kittle.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and now let us sing holy song number 10, My Offering. And for the offertory prayer, may I request our Ate Natsuki Kanyete to lead us.
Good morning and happy Ahn Shi to everyone. I will pray Japanese. お祈りいたします。사랑하시는 하나님의 아버지, 승리하신 전진 전부모님, 감사합니다. 사랑합니다. 愛する天の父母様、天地人誠のご父母様、今日このアンシールのひととき、あなたのまた愛する、兄弟姉妹、リーダーたちとまた祝福家庭、チョンボ家庭がともに、この場に集い合わせまして、このような時間を与えていただく、この幸いを心から感謝申し上げます。今日また本当にあなたが準備してくださいまして、ドクター・キトルを通しまして、またあなたのメッセージを受けていく、本当にこの尊い時間を与えていただきながら、また先日行われましたワールドサミットにおきまして、本当に世界中から天の父母様と誠のご父母様を慕い求め、また本当にその夢をまたなそうと、また集う本当に素晴らしいリーダーたちが集い合わせまして、そのような本当にイベントを誠のまたお母様が大勝利を収められていかれたまた内容を本当に聞いていく中に、本当に誠のお母様がどれだけまた一人この道をまた先駆けて歩まれ、また生成を尽くされる、そのようなまたお母様の姿を感じることができました。またこのような本当にコロナパンデミックの中にありまして、本当に簡単ではないそのような環境がありますけれども、本当にこのような コロナのこのパンデミックの、内容が問題ではなくて、また私たち自身が問題であり、また私自身が本当に問題であるということをまた感じてさせていただきながら、あなたがまた本当に私たち一人一人にまた願われる、その願いと、また夢が本当にあって、また先駆けて、誠のご父母様、誠のお母様が、その本当に内容をまた、イメージしながら、また本当に勝利を願われる、そのようなご父母様であるということを改めて感じさせていただきました。こうしてまた、私たちはこの黄金期において、本当に、誠のご父母様が本当に与えてくださるこの原理の内容を通して、また私たちは日々の歩みにおきまして、本当に私たち自身が天皇母様と誠のご父母様の歩まれたその道を本当に歩んでいく、そのような訓練をさせていただいていることを心から感謝する次第でございます。また、誠のご父母様が私たちの成長をまたどれだけ願われているかということをまた心から、感じますから、どうぞ本当に、足りないものでありますけれども、いつも天皇母様と誠のご父母様に、また心情を一つとして、歩んでいくことができますように、本当にいつもあなたが与えてくださるその大きな愛に心から感謝申し上げます。今日こうしてあなたが本当にあなたが与えてくださる、この愛を通して、またいつも導いてくださいますあなたの、大きな愛に心から感謝申し上げます。どうぞ一日も早くまた天の父母様と誠のご父母様を解放差し上げることができますように、また私たちも本当にこの時間、また新たな決意を持って出発していきたく思います。どうぞ、また世界中で、歩まれる、またすべてのリーダーたちと、また祝福家庭と、祝福2世、祝福3世、チョンボ家庭、また本当に私たちの心が本当に天の父母様と誠のご父母様とまた連結され、本当に心情一つとして、また一日も早い天の父母様のまた願いに応えていく私たちとなじめてくださいますことを切にお願い申し上げます。本当にこの時間、あなたが与えてくださいました。この時間、心から感謝申し上げながら、足りない祈りでありますけれども、祝福中心家庭どもの名によって天の御前にご報告お捧げ申し上げました。
Thank you very much, Ate Natsuki or Mama Nats Cagayan or Center for your heartfelt prayer. At this point, I'd like to invite everyone to offer the unison prayer. Aju, aju, aju. All right. Good morning once again, brothers and sisters. And before we sing our recessional song, we shall be hearing an announcement from the HQ staff, if there are any.
Good morning to all our leaders, brothers and sisters. Here are the news and announcements. This Saturday, February 26, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Manila time, the 4th Tingtang 2022 Forum will take place. All members are encouraged to watch as well as invite your close VIPs, relatives, and friends. You can watch the program at Peacelink TV. Next, the Yajong Chonbo Great Works will take place on February 26 to 27, 2022. The program will begin at 4:20 p.m. Manila time. All registered members will receive an email reminder with the link the day before the event. Next, we are inviting all blessed families and new blessed couples to attend the Asia Pacific Parental Guidance Series 1.0 on Sunday, February 27, 2022. There is a registration fee of $5 or 260 pesos. The registration deadline is today, February 24, 2022. For more information, please contact Mrs. Kayo Halog at 0967-246-9149. We would like also to remind all blessed families and members about the special donation for the event celebrating True Parents' birthday and the 9th anniversary of Foundation Day. For the donation amount for blessed families, at least $25 and for single adults, at least $10. We accept donations until end of February. You can send your precious donations to the following bank account. We have BPI dollar account and PNB peso account. And for tithes and donations, worship donations, please send them to your local church bank accounts. That's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ate Jenny, for the announcement. And now, everybody, let's sing the recessional song number 40, Song of Unity, in celebration of our Ahn Shi today. elders, brothers and sisters. Of course, good morning to our dear
Thank you,
Dr.
Dr.
Abaketa
Kittle.
and of course,
Kita,
Mrs. Gracia Maria
Teresa.
Kittle. Thank you so much. Of course,
Thank
our
you,
national
ma'am.
leader, Sir L.A. Thank you. And Sir Ronnie. Good morning. Happy Ahn Shi po.
Everybody.
Good morning,
Kanyati
everyone.
family.
Ang
Good
labakton.
morning. Happy Ahn Shi.
Thank you, Nami.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Pilipinas. Mabuhay.
Thank you, Dr. Kita.
Bless you.
And family. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
And see you there.
And
Sipok family. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Kito.
Thank you.